Watch and burn.
Hey everyone, so tonight I want to discuss a movie that a lot of people have been talking about lately, and usually when people end up discussing a movie this much, it usually means that it's either going to be amazing or it means that the movie is going to be far from the best. And in this case, I would argue that that's the case with this one here. And this is Blumhouse's The Black Phone, starring Ethan Hawke. And I wanted to like this. I tried to like this. I went in with the best attitude possible. Jason Blum shouldn't be anywhere near a horror movie. And somehow he's seen as this modern master of horror production. Through his imprint Blumhouse, they have churned out countless shit horror films that are profitable, of course, because as everybody knows, horror movies, they don't take a lot of money to make, and therefore anything over that budget is considered a success. And it seems like Blumhouse just consistently knocks it out of the park for some reason. I think it's just because people are desperate and they'll go see anything. Like, people have heard from other people in their lives who are older than them, like what an exciting experience it was going to the movies to see an awesome film, regardless of the type, whether it's horror, action, a rom-com, whatever. They've grown up on this and they're like, holy shit, well, my generation, we need these. We need we need to go to the movies and see films. And I think that's the case because nobody seems to be all that discerning anymore. It's just like, if the movie's released, people will go see it, because this one cleaned up at the box office, and this movie was a complete and total pile of fucking donkey shit. I really liked Gwen, Finn's sister. Sorry, the main two characters are Finney and Gwen Blake. They live with their alcoholic and slightly physically abusive father, but that comes and goes due to the poor writing of this film. And I really liked Gwen. I thought she was the strongest character, and she wasn't in the movie nearly enough. She was funny, she was smart, and it was her dreams are sort of the reason that allow this movie to move forward, which brings it to its inevitable conclusion, which for somebody like me who did not like this, couldn't happen fast enough. But she wasn't in it enough. I thought his sister was an amazing character that was completely underused. I liked Finney too. He was a cool kid. He was afraid to throw a punch. He was always getting his ass kicked at school. And then the kid who was his buddy, as well as the kid that was fighting off the bullies for him, he goes missing. And fuck. And then Finney's abducted by this piece of shit serial killer played by Ethan Hawke, the grabber. And when he's in the basement and he starts getting phone calls from all the dead kids, and that's pretty much when I checked out. I don't know what it is with that trope in modern horror where, like, everybody has to be there to sort of lay out, like, endless amounts of exposition. And in this case, it is the ghosts of the kids that the grabber, Ethan Hawke, have killed before. The phone will ring. It's a ghost phone. Finney picks it up, and it's one of the kids. He's like, oh, you're so-and-so. You were taken last month, last year, or whatever. And the kid's, like, telling him what to do, and the movie is just so dumb. And then the kids' ghosts are in the room with him, and as they're saying to his face what's being said on the phone, and of course he can't see their ghosts, it's just for us, and the kids explain away everything, and there's too much exposition, okay? And for people who don't know what that word means, it just means those characters that explain everything so that the movie doesn't have to work hard at being clever. It's just a quick way to get the story out there. And so here comes the exposition ghosts. They come out of nowhere and they explain away the grabber and his partial motivations and where they've hidden things around the room where Finney's being kept. And there's a combination on the wall to the lock that the grabber took off this one kid that he's using to lock his door upstairs. And oh, fuck, it was so boring. And I'm just so tired of this. There's so much exposition crammed into all of these modern movies in general, not just horror, that the movie doesn't have to work to gain the audience trust by telling the story in a more well-written, clever sense. They just have that character walk on and they explain everything we need to know in 30 seconds, and there it's taken care of, and we can go back to bland cinematography and shitty acting. So I mean, this movie was just so dumb. Like, yeah, Ethan Hawke needed to kidnap a kid to get a goddamn combination lock to put on his door so the kids couldn't escape. I mean, at the end of the movie, when he's planning to kill Finney, you see him at a fucking hardware store buying shit he's going to use to kill the kid and then clean up the body and whatnot. So why wouldn't he just pick up a combination lock there? It was so obvious and heavy-handed. And of course, Finney's at the door trying to undo it as the fucking grabber who's fallen asleep in the chair waiting for him to come upstairs so the grabber can kill him. Because the grabber plays this idiot game called Naughty Boy. That, whenever you use the word naughty, I always think of that bullshit. I think it was Silent Night, Deadly Night, with that piece of shit running around going, naughty, and he's shooting people and everything. I think it was Silent Night, Deadly Night. That movie was garbage too. But yeah, so the game the grabber plays is he won't hurt the kids, and he leaves the door open to the cellar where they're being kept. And at the top of the stairs that are adjacent to the cellar where they're kept is like a bottle of pop or something. And if the kid is stupid enough to sneak upstairs to try and grab the pop, that means he's a naughty boy, and the grabber will beat him to death with a belt or some shit. This movie needed a plot, right? And this is the one that it got. I did really like the costume design. I liked the set design. I believed that this movie took place through the course of... this movie looked like the 70s. It felt like the 70s. They did do that really well. They managed to capture the spirit of the decade through the songs, like I said, through the costumes, the set design, the cars they used, of course. Everything in that regard felt fairly genuine, but everything else just felt... God, I was tired. It took me 3 tries to finish this one through. Even the scene where the father is shown to be abusive, beating the shit out of Gwen because she has these visions that allow the movie to move along. It just felt forced, and there was no emotion behind it. And then later on, what does she do, the abused kid? She goes to her father, who's the abusive, drunk piece of shit, and she talks to him about her dreams, and he doesn't get angry and beat her again. Like, I've known enough abused people when I was growing up, because of where I grew up, and they avoided their parents like the fucking plague because they were terrified of them. They don't just suddenly go in and get some advice from the abusive pieces of shit, and then the said abusive pieces of shit stop abusing, and they're sort of helpful. This movie, it tried too hard to pull at your emotional heartstrings. It tried too hard to scare you with the grabber wearing this 2-piece mask and beating the kids to death, and none of it worked. And I've been, oh fuck, it's almost 8 minutes. So I'm going to stop complaining about the black phone. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for almost 8 minutes while I discuss this piece of shit. Like always, if you liked this review or whatever it was, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. You guys are amazing. I will talk to you soon. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.